This show has been brought to you by FBA Speakers. We hold the diaries for Will Cherland, Anthony Lee and myself, Danny McMillan. If you'd like to book us for your conference or event, visit fbaspeakers.com for more details. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back my friend Chris Thomas. Hey Chris, how you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you, Danny. Thanks again for having me on. I can't believe it. This is great.
No worries. So today we're going to speak about product failures. Like the pair of us, we've had many.
Yes.
So plenty of battle scars. Which product in your arsenal are you going to pick out today?
I have to say there's been at least 5 product failures over the years. So, yeah, like most. But today we're going to focus on a product called the Doggy Fun.
Yep.
And do you want me to talk about how I found it and
let's talk about what the product is, what it does, the problem it kind of solves, and then you can tell us why you thought it was a winner.
All right. So, okay. So what this product is basically an automatic dog fetching machine. So it allows an owner to train their dog to put a ball in the top of the machine, and then the machine detects that the ball's gone into the top, and it spools up and shoots the ball out so the dog can run after it and grab it and fetch it and then bring it back and drop it in the top. And it's just a sort of an endless loop of doggy fun.
Yeah.
So that was the product.
And what convinced you it was going to be a winner?
I'm a little bit ashamed about this one. I was at a trade show in Hong Kong. Yep. And I was just walking the aisles, and I saw a company from Taiwan called Asda, A-D-E-S-D-R, I think they are, Asda. Yep. And they had this machine. In fact, I wasn't actually even looking for it. It just happened to be there, and I saw it, and I went, wow, that is a very cool product. And I knew that the pet category in Amazon in the United States was pretty hot. So I went up and had a chat to them and got a bit of an idea of price, and they were demoing the machine. It looked pretty good. And in fact, with that one, I partnered with a friend of mine called George, who I might have mentioned in a previous episode, perhaps an episode. Anyway, so we partnered on that. We went 50-50, and the unit cost of this product, it's quite a big product, was I think it was around about $25 FOB, and then we spent a bit more money getting it across to the US, of course, and import duties and whatnot. We placed a test order of about 200 units. Now, the reason why I like this was because having done a search on Amazon, there was only one incumbent there that had a similar machine. In fact, it was almost identical. And this is where I'm feeling quite sheepish, being a product developer myself, was that this was effectively a Chinese ripoff of somebody else's IP. And called the iFetch. And that had actually been a successful Kickstarter project, which I found out later. So they were just crushing it. They were doing, I don't know, $150,000 to $200,000. This was, I think, October of maybe 2015 or thereabouts. So it was just before Christmas and things were starting to heat up. And I knew that when Christmas came, this thing was going to go absolutely bonkers. There was virtually no competition. It would have been iFetch and then us. So
hold on a minute. So let's have this right. So you've got a product, like the competition was called iFetch, was it?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, so as in iPhone.
Yep.
You got sucked in at a trade show, maybe see a few dollar signs, would you say?
Big time dollar signs on this one. I was thinking this is going to put your glasses.
You're thinking Q4, You're thinking this hockey stick chart that you've showed the investors. Yeah. Okay, go on, tell me more.
Yeah, I had dollar signs for sure. I was thinking I was going to retire in about 6 months on this one, and just kidding. So anyway, look, it actually, of course, like anything, it took a long time to get this product over to the United States. In fact, I think we were live around March of 2016, so a year or so ago, a year and a bit, and it did take off. We busted through our 200 units pretty quickly, no dramas at all, and in April. We were back in Hong Kong, George and I, and we caught up with Asda again. They were at the trade show again, and they were about to release a brand new kind of model, although it just looked different. It was just a different case.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to have a look at not our product, but a sort of another private label product, which is exactly the same, just search Amazon for Playball automatic ball launcher. I think that should bring up the product.
Yeah.
And they said, look, we've got this new version. It looks a lot better. It's pretty cool. But we'd fed back to them that the balls that they supplied were very fuzzy. And what they meant was that dogs were kind of slobbering all over these balls, and the balls were kind of the fuzzy tennis ball-y sort of, outside of them were sort of the skin or, that sort of fuzzy stuff on the outside. One was getting wet. and it was getting jammed in the machine. So we had quite a few returns as well, where people were saying, the bloody thing doesn't work, and it's, the balls are getting stuck. So we worked with them to actually develop some smooth balls. Can I even say that on the radio? But anyway, and so we actually did work with them on some product development to improve the performance of the product. Yeah. But they dragged their feet, and it wasn't until, I reckon it must have been about another 9 months. So by this stage, we'd almost forgotten about the thing, and then they said, look, we've actually finished it and we're ready to order. So we ordered another. Gosh, I think at this stage they were insisting that we ordered maybe 500 units. We were a bit sort of iffy.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the unit price on that?
It was about the same. It was about 25 US. Yeah. So, but by now, after 9 months of waiting around for these guys to pull their finger out and get this thing in market or ready for sale, a lot of other competitors had started to move in. So it wasn't just a 2-horse race anymore. It was iFetch and a bunch of others. There was a company called PetSafe, I think, had come in with theirs, and there's a few others. So it was a bit tighter. The market was really starting to tighten up. But anyway, look, we went ahead and we listed this thing, and this is now probably about January, I guess, of last year, 2017. We're up to. I hope my timeline's right, and within a couple of weeks, my friend George in the United States received a cease and desist letter from iFetch's lawyer saying that our product, or the product that Asda had made for us, was in breach of their patent. So I said to George, look, I just think for the sake of the long-term, relationship with Amazon, it's probably better not to push this and just ignore it. I think we need to write back to them and say, look, is there any chance that we'd be able to sell through the 300 or 400 that we had left until May? We expect that we'll probably sell out by May, and we will not reorder. And that's effectively what we did. So in the end, we actually made a reasonable profit on the product. We didn't lose any money on it, that's for sure. And we never heard back from them, but we did sort of do the honourable thing, and we did stop selling in around about May, perhaps June of 2017. Yeah.
So it could have been very different there. I mean, you come out, ahead. Obviously, you lost a lot of time, because instead of having a life cycle of, 2 to 5 years of this product, the life cycle's disappeared. There's quite hefty, in comparative terms to a lot of people, what they spend on a unit price for their private label products. Some of people were spending between $1 and $7 on the smaller end of the cash flow. But with $25 a unit, it can be quite a large enterprise in terms of restock and growing the business. So you could have gone through a lot of stages there, but obviously they were honourable or quite nice, because I imagine there's a lot of companies out there that go, no chance, pull them off now as I report you to Amazon. If that was going to be the scenario, what kind of dollars would you have been in the hole for there?
Look, I think we probably would have still been able to offload them maybe through eBay. In fact, there's another story that leads on from this where Asda, get back to answer your question. Look, had a lawsuit happen, the sky's the limit in terms of where we could have ended up in a hole. And again, just back on that price thing of the unit cost being so high, and don't forget freight. I don't think we got these things into Amazon for much less than about maybe $37 or $38. I can't quite remember the exact number now when we break it all down. But they're also very big, so they're very heavy quite bulky to ship. There's a very big box that surrounded the casing and everything else. And also, one last thing to mention too was that when we first started, we were basically matching iFetch's price, so it was around about $120. So even though we were in for about $40, I think we paid Amazon maybe, I think it must have been about 20 to 25 or something on FBA and referral fees. Anyway, we ended up with around about $50 a unit profit, so it was a pretty profitable thing. When we came back in with this new model that I mentioned in January or so of last year, this another private label that had come in, obviously had been negotiating with Asda called Playball, which I mentioned earlier, so you can have a look at the product, because they obviously probably got a cease and desist too and decided not to do anything. Mm-hmm. And they dropped the price down to around about $70. So they were, sitting on razor thin margins, I suppose. But anyway, but it does actually lead me on to another quick story, which was that Asda then came back to us having not been able to reorder, and they offered us a new product they developed called a cat laser toy, which is an automatic cat laser toy, which we're actually still selling. But that was a bit of a disaster as well, because we launched that, I think, August. So it wasn't long after. Got got our hands on, how many units was it? Must have been 600 units. Yeah. Around about $9 each, maybe $9.50. We listed the product. We created a shipping plan. We did everything. We got it into Amazon. Within half an hour of that product being live, Amazon shut the listing down as a restricted product. They claimed that it was a handheld laser, which is a restricted product. Having let us gone through all of this, and so we ended up trying to get rid of them on eBay. And a couple of weeks later, I actually had a look on Amazon to see what was going on, and somebody else was actually selling the exact same thing, and they're still there. So what we did was a bit sneaky. We actually created a brand new listing and tried again and got it. We got it to stick. So we're able to sell through up into Christmas. We're actually thinking maybe we may reorder that product. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool. So let's just to go around to round up here. In what would you say is the main lessons you learned from this? Obviously, what are you doing now in terms of searching for patents, and have you got an extensive search underway as part of your product selection research process?
That's a tough one. Not so much. I tend to just sort of stumble in blindly and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But because it's just such an expensive thing. Like when I did because I've got my own proprietary products, when I actually did a patent search way back in the day, it cost me like $4,000 to get a professional to.
Oh, what I meant was that you go into Google Patents and, using the different patent platforms and doing local searches just to see what stuff comes up, or are you begging for forgiveness? You're an entrepreneur after all. It's like, don't ask for permission.
Yeah, don't do that. No, it's more just say we're sorry and tuck your tail between your legs and take the ball and bat and go home. But
you obviously you got it working for you. So what are the three main metrics you look for now, and if going forward for your main criteria for selecting products?
Well, it depends on the brand that I run on Amazon. So the one that I'm talking about at the moment is just sort of my throw everything at it. So I've got two seller accounts. This is the second seller, non-branded. It's basically I just find products and I just chuck the products in there and see what happens. For that brand, when I am just out and about searching for products, first of all, I'm not scared of electronics. I've already learned that there's quite a lot of money in electronics, and all the courses are saying don't touch electronics, don't touch things that break.
But that's because of domain expertise as well, isn't it? So.
Yeah, that's right. And, but I actually think that there is big money to be made in electronics if you get it right. I also look for opportunities. In fact, I was just doing some product research tonight and I'm about to give away one of my secrets, but I was looking at pet dryers, for example, which is an electronic product. It's a hairdryer. And it was just really interesting to watch and see. I just look at things like looking at, there was a couple of sellers there, if you do a search for pet dryers, for example, that are effectively selling human pet dryers or hair dryers and then just relabeling them as a pet dryer. So what they're doing is they're taking a product that's designed for something else and just completely rebranding it to do a specific task for pet owners. It's the same thing, right? I mean, that's just smart. And I see that sort of stuff and I always sort of thinking laterally about, and this is what I'm doing with another product of mine that I'm developing from my main brand, which is my headphones. And I'm developing a set of sleeping earbuds actually. And I've got a main competitor at the moment who I'm looking at and I've been watching them. And what they've done is just basically take a really cool set of quite slimline earbuds that you normally use when you're running and sitting on the bus or whatever. And they've just described them as sleep earbuds or earphones. So headphones. So, they're the sort of angles that I like to come in at where I look for those sort of opportunities where that sort of thing. And look, sometimes you just at a trade show and you see a dog fetch machine, you go, shit, that's good.
Yeah. No, I remember I see them. They was on the top floor of a trade show in Hong Kong in April 2016. I think it was HKTDC. So
it was indeed.
It's almost like a dog in a big microwave, isn't it? It's got different processes that it goes through. So yeah, funny enough, we were looking at those as well. Okay, to end out here, what is the one piece of advice you'd give to our viewers and listeners?
That's a really tough call. There's just so many bits of advice I could provide. The number one thing is, particularly if you're just starting out, is definitely try and modify a product if you're private labeling off Alibaba, for example.
Yeah.
Just don't do a Me Too, and definitely try and look at the 1-star reviews, all that stuff. Try and work with your manufacturer to create some kind of angle on it. bundling's okay, but if you do 2, someone's going to come along with 3. That's okay as well. But I just think that if you can't add some significant value to an existing product, particularly if you're trying to build out a brand, then it's a short-term play for you.
Excellent. Okay, Chris, how can people reach you?
Oh, of course. Well, not of course. If they want to, they can reach out to me at chris@hibermate. That's HIBERMATE.com. And I've also got a new podcast that I've released. I've got about 12, 13 episodes for Australians. So if anybody from Australia is listening, or look, stuff it from anybody from the world if they want to have a listen, theaustralianseller.com.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you for coming in today. Guys, thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.